other three as well, that we are looking for a historic district, and this is going to be the first part of a historic district. While I appreciate your facade concept, Chuck, in this, no, Chuck.
No, actually, that was my concept.
Well, we've been talking about facades for the last 5 years, about different types of facades and preservation easements and so on. That's why I'm addressing you. It's a good concept under certain circumstances. In this particular one, I really and personally do not feel very comfortable with it because of the general scope, the general space that is necessary on that particular block. And that is not just putting another building on top of a facade or saving the facade and sticking it onto a new building and then having a 16-story building rising above it. It needs to have setbacks. The roofs can be used for balconies for the various apartments. I think there are other alternatives. I really do think that we need to go forward, landmark it, and then talk about it, but hopefully not just about facades. So thank you.
Just for the record, Georgia, when the applicant made the offer about the facades, I pointed out the tax benefits of the facade easement and the sequencing of doing the state registry before the local, but in no way am I opining that just the facades are out of it. Joseph.
In the world of historic preservation, saving just the facades is called a facadectomy. I'm just putting it out there. It really is. I was told that by someone who does a lot of historic preservation work. In fact, I was told that by Steve Burns, who spoke both at the Landmarks Board and here at the Real Estate Community meeting last week. And he's an architect, thank you. And I think most of us know that. I think that I'm very, very happy. It's been a very difficult week. I've been very, very happy to see that there is movement, spirit of cooperation. I think all of the applicants would say the same thing. Let us not forget, as Deirdre pointed out, that there are other building owners here who may in fact come before the Landmarks Board also. And as is their right once this is landmarked, and ask for any kind of thing that, they can also ask for changes. The Landmarks Board ordinance is set up for this purpose. It's already established for this purpose. It's designed to work with a landowner, a building owner, to help them not just with economic hardship, but with other needs for the facade, the sidewalls, and the roof of their building. And I think we have very professional people on our Landmarks Board. I think we should trust them. I think we should all trust them that they're going to do this properly. And I also want to just say anecdotally something about landmarking. It's been very interesting. I work in Scarsdale, and I know an awful lot of people there. And since they know I live in Yonkers, they frequently come and they say, I just went to the downtown, and I had dinner at Zuba, or I had dinner at X2O, and I had a great time. And I say, are you coming back? And they say no. And the reason they say no, when I ask them, is because they say there's no place to go after dinner. There's no place to take a walk to. There's no cute little quirky streets. There's no little bookstore. There's no place to get a cup of coffee 2 hours after dinner. That's the point of historic preservation, is to create that kind of neighborhood. It isn't to take away the building and preserve the image of the building. I'm thrilled with the thought that Grayston would replenish what had been there originally. I hope they will do that under any circumstances, to whatever extent they are financially able to do it. They're not required to do it. Let's remember that also. But I think it's really important to think about what we're doing here. We're not just creating Save the Buildings Day. We're creating an historic district, and that has meaning out there in the rest of the world in historic preservation. We're not working completely in isolation. There are concepts behind this. And I think that it's really important to remember that. There's a philosophy behind historic preservation. We're entering into that with this approach. And everyone, Grayston, the other building owners, the city council, the applicants, the people who go and enjoy it, have to understand that there's a philosophy here. And that's what I really want to remind everyone. And again, I also say the same thing. Please, landmark it. At least do it before, what I believe is actually May 6th, if Mario Cruz and I did the numbers right. And we'll go from there. Everyone will end up happy, I promise. Greystone Keys?
Actually, we used to have.
Yes, but now you've got your building, you've got this historic front, you've got your little coffee shop. Is that what we're talking about?
And I want a Mansfield bookstore.
It didn't work because it wasn't feasible at the time economically. Sandy, no.
Thank you. You know, a few weeks ago, the last time we had a real estate meeting here, we had a win-lose situation where the winners were the applicants and the losers were going to be Greystone. Since then, we have moved to a win-win situation where, with the help of the public, with the help of the city council, we've met some sort of compromise, and those details are still to be ironed out. And I have every faith in the Landmarks Board. They are not pushovers. They are extremely competent. They are not going to allow Greystone to bulldoze their way and get what they want. So let us allow Greystone the opportunity to meet with those competent people who serve on that board, whether it be a week or two. Allow them the time to come to some sort of compromise where it can be a win-win for both entities and for the entire city. Greystone almost is in half of the buildings, 6 or 7 buildings. So you already own those properties. They are the majority of buildings down that belong to Greystone. Let's do the right thing by Greystone. They've invested time, they've invested money, they've invested labor. The right thing to do, they've owned the properties for years now. We knew what their plan was all along. The landmarking process started not too long ago. Let's give them the opportunity to sit down with the Landmarks Board, to hash it out so we can come back here and be happy to vote on a project that both sides and the entire city is going to be winning. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember
I won't agree with Councilman Nanabi, I guess, but my only, I would encourage them to work it out, but to the extent it can be worked out again by the deadline of the 6th. My concern about this, what I heard expressed from Grayson earlier tonight and in other days, in effect, we want to work it all out now because we don't want to be subject to the whim and caprice of the Landmarks Board. For us to buy into that would be for us to say we don't trust the Landmarks Board either, and I do trust the Landmarks Board, to do what's appropriate. So I encourage them to work between now and the deadline, but I don't see extending this beyond May 6th. I still want to see myself, the buildings, not the facades, the buildings landmarked, the district landmarked. I trust the Landmarks Board between now and the deadline and after landmarking to do what's right by the city and by all the parties.
I just want to say, let's wrap this up before we have more comments and screw up this whole thing. And let's just give them the time deadline by May 6th.
Councilman Robbins said on the condition that she doesn't screw up the compromise.
I just had,
No, it's not. Okay. Centuries ago, there was someone who used to declare this place or that place, a district, this or that, and that was the king. And it took an American Revolution to give us property rights as we now enjoy them. And property rights are the most historic philosophy of all. I just heard someone talk about philosophies of, the historical preservation, but the most historical philosophy of all really is property rights. And I just wondered how did the king, or vestiges of that kind of, priority get into the room. I've heard in another room concern about eminent domain. That goes to the heart of property rights, how important that is. So we know in these rooms that that's important, property rights. So I just feel that Grayson has been exceedingly generous, incredibly generous and noble to step back and negotiate when they have property rights. And what they want to do is even generous for the whole city, for the people that need help the most for getting housing. These aren't fast-track developers. These are considerate, noble people, and they've been flogged as if they're up to no good. And I feel that there's something about this has been a bit shameful, and I think they deserve better. And